And Moses turned and came down the mountain with the 2 tablets of the covenant in his hand, written on both their sides. On the one side and on the other they were written. And the tablets, God's doing they were. And the writing, God's writing it was. Inscribed on the tablets. It's the Decalogue as he comes down. And Joshua heard the sound of the people as it shouted. And he said to Moses, a sound of war in the camp. He thinks all the festivities, all of this. Joshua, who is a man of war, it's like, oh, that's what it must be. It's a sound of jubilation. It's a sound of festivities. I'll go one step further. It's actually a sound of war. How so? It's a sound of war against this God who brought his people out of Egypt. This is a war against him. You want an idol? It's a war against this God. Even if it's an idol, even if it's a monotheistic idol, it's a war against this God because of that first commandment. Obviously, if it's a polytheistic idol, it's clearly a war against this God. But I want to go even a step further. Even if it's monotheistic idolatry, it's still a war against this God. And Joshua said, not the sound of crying out in triumph, and not the sound of crying out in defeat, a sound of crying out I hear. And I said Moses. Joshua, I meant Moses. The sound of war in the camp. And Moses said this poem. Oh, I love it. It's not in triumph. It's not in defeat. In other words, Joshua, this is no sound of war that I hear. This is something else. Completely different. Let me go a step further. And it's not in the text, but I'm going to go a step further just to give us kind of a dramatic ending here. This is an orgiastic festival. They're enjoying themselves. It sounds like it's war, and it turns out it is actually war. It's spiritual warfare. They're acting out as pagans would act out. This is not a festival to God. This is a festival to a calf that they think represents their God, but they're treating this in an idolatrous manner. That's what this looks like. And again, I really do enjoy the oral tradition that these were the outsiders who are kind of egging the Israelites to participate. I actually have no problem with that reading at all. I think it's great, but it would make sense that they take their idolatrous ways and like, oh, you're monotheistic? It's okay. You can still do idolatry. You can still do. I mean, just think. And I'm gonna. All right, let me fire a shot. Let me just fire one shot. I have lots of friends who are very conservative Reformed friends, and they think me and all of my Catholic friends are a bunch of idolaters, even though we worship one God, because we have icons all over the place. We're kissing them. We have crosses. Our children will kiss a window pane if it has a cross on it for the love of God. You understand? That's their charge against us. This is why it just seems to me that it doesn't have to be polytheistic, and that monotheistic idolatry is a much stronger pull, I think, for the Israelites after what they've been through than any of these other gods, because this God has just wiped out the other gods. And remember, the one thing they're waiting for is for Moses to come down. And again, I sympathize because, of course, why would they not? He's done everything for them. It's his hands.